I started talking about pretirement on this channel, pre-tirement on this channel a few weeks ago, about 4 weeks ago now. And something very unexpected happened. Thousands of you, thousands of Gen X women started telling me what their lives actually look like right now. And I've spent a lot of time in the comments and listening and talking and sharing and reading all the comments. And I started to notice so many things. I mean, I'm so excited to share some of this with you. But it's very fascinating because obviously we are not all experiencing this in the same way. But I began to notice patterns in the comments that I was receiving. And I thought it would be helpful to share. So the purpose of our conversation today is to really to help you do a very simple pre-tirement self-assessment. So it will help you understand like where you are, like what phase or what camp of pre-tirement are you in. It will give you some insight into how other Gen X women are navigating it. And then the hope is to find one shift that helps you move forward. And at the end of this video, I'm going to ask you 3 questions that will help you with that self-assessment. Stay with me to the end. I'm going to walk you through because what I found with the patterns is that so far, we seem to fall into about 14 different camps of women. And stay to the end because the ones at the end are the most hopeful and the most inspiring. It kind of gradually goes through that. And so stick with me to that so that we can travel through that together. And then I would love to hear in the comments, which camp are you in? And what did your pre-tirement self-assessment tell you? If you're new here, my name is Amy Palmer. I am your Gen X big sister. Yes, I've been talking about pre-tirement lately. I talk about a lot of different topics that affect women over 45 in all different circumstances. I tend to highlight women living a life outside the traditional societal expectations. So a lot of us are single, a lot of us don't have kids, but all are welcome here. And so let's go through these camps and let me know what resonates with you, where do you feel like you fall, etc. And I'm actually going to share some actual comments from some of my pre-tirement videos. If you scroll through the last couple of weeks, and I'll link to a couple of pre-tirement videos at the end of this one, but you'll be able to revisit some more information on this very important topic. Quickly, pre-tirement, the definition, it's mainly like the 10, 15 years-ish before official retirement age, whatever that is, 65, 67, what we've been told it is. It's that last phase of our professional career life before that kicks in, if we choose to retire. All right, so here are the camps. Camp number 1 is the wait, this is exactly how I feel, women. There were so many, I've been blown away, and I still, weeks later from the older videos, I'm still getting comments about, this is exactly me. I totally relate. I feel like you read my mind, you read my journal, you're reading my thoughts. So this is probably the largest camp of women in the comments are people who could like just totally relate to what we were talking about in the original pre-tirement videos. For example, one of the comments from, let's see, at Heidi C 8538, she said, "This is me exactly. I didn't realize that other people felt this way too. Thank you for making this video." And then another one at of Sound Mind 143, a disabling level of stress and anxiety caused a meltdown or burnout in 2025. I'm still not okay and still not able to work. Turned 48 last year. I'm just slowing down and healing right now. So this is definitely also someone who doesn't quite know what to do or where to go. Like they feel this way. They're not really sure what to do with that feeling. But a great first step, like what we've experienced here, is being recognized and seeing that you're not alone and connecting with other women who are going through a similar season, because we are all in this together, baby. So we can figure it out together. So that's camp number one. Camp number two, the lifelong workers. Tracy Rimmer 630 said, I think a big part of this is that many of us started working very early. I worked a full-time job from 14 years old in addition to school, additional part-time jobs, marriage, motherhood, etc. I'm tired. I've worked for others nearly my entire life. I'm ready to do what I want. Yes, so many comments similar to this. I've been working since I was 12. I've been working since I was 9. I started babysitting little babies when I was still a baby. I've been grinding my whole life. I've never taken a break. I've gone from one job to another. This resonates so deeply with us as Gen X women because we grew up with a work first mentality. It's been part of our identity. It's been sort of handed to us. I mean, I was having a conversation with someone recently about the fact that we are the first Gen X. We were the first generation of girls that were told from a very young age, okay, girls, we've been working hard and now you can have whatever you want. You can be who you want. You can do anything a man can do. Like, we got that message really early. So, hey, you got this blessing. You got this, new way to be able to live life. So you better make the best of it. You better make use of it. And work has always been a huge, huge, part of that. Camp number 3, the women deep in the middle. These are the women who they're really in the throes of it. And I didn't quote any of these comments because my empathy, I just remember what it was like. I remember what it was like to be deep, deep, deep in the middle of it and not knowing where to go next, not knowing what my first step, not knowing and kind of not caring, to be completely honest with you. I was so in the throes of the suck and just living day to day and drudging through each day that I wasn't ready to think about what can I do to pull myself out of this. Or, I feel like I had gone through so many seasons in my life of self-development and self-improvement. And I've taken the courses and I've hired the coaches and I went through the therapy. I did all the things. And this time around, when this happened to me 5 years ago, I was deep in it. I was exhausted. I was questioning everything. I was just real deep in it and couldn't see out. And we've had quite a few women in the comments sharing. And if you are someone who is on the other side of that, and can relate to that you've been through that before, please engage with those commenters as well. But for those of you that are in the thick of it, just know that I see you and I get it. And there's a little bit of just having to feel the suckiness for a moment. And when you're ready to make a decision, like when you're ready to make a decision that you're going to do something, we're here and I'm here. And we can point you in the right direction at that point. But in the meantime, we see you for sure. Camp number 4 is the quietly resigned. Like this particular commenter said, wow, this is me. Earning money, but want to retire, but too many expenses. Elderly mom lives with me for over 4 years. 4 years, grown child struggling to get ahead despite advanced education, exhausted at home and work. This is sometimes some of you came right out and said it is what it is. I gotta, I have 5 more years of this, or I have 6 more years of this, or I have 3 more years of this, and I just have to do what I need to do, and I just need to keep struggling through. And just there's nothing that can be done about this right now. It's definitely like a quiet resignation that you're just, yes, you're miserable. Yes, you're exhausted. You're just trying to get from one morning to the evening, back to the morning again, and go through it. And you're determined to just stick it out until whatever. And I get that. I get that. I understand that. And I'm also concerned about that as well, because your body, your body won't let you do that forever. It's going to give you signals if it hasn't already, and it probably has already, but those signals are going to get worse and worse and louder. So if you're in that camp where you're quietly resigned to, it is what it is, I'm just going to ask you, is it? It is what it is. Is it? Like, are you sure there are no options? What if we make a decision today that I've decided, yes, there are options. I've decided that, yes, I'm going to look at choices. I've decided that, yes, I'm going to take a pivot into another direction. So if that is you, let me know in the comments, and I'd love to have a conversation with you. Camp number 5, the landscape has changed for women. These were women. These are women who said, what do you mean pre-tire? What do you mean? I love my job. My job is great, but things have changed at the job. I'm being called back into the office, or the corporate culture has changed, or the younger generations are a pain in the butt to work with, or my new bosses are a pain in the butt to work for. There's a lot of toxicity. I'm not burned out at work. I'm just burned out at what it has become. So a lot of, and the women who fall into this camp have expressed themselves in different ways. In some ways, they're saying, yes, I'm good where I'm going to still work, and I'm good, and I'm happy with this job, and it's all good. And I'm going to say to you, awesome, then it's a non-issue. Let's keep on keeping on. Make sure you got the joy in your life. And if you're the women who, yes, I love my job, but the toxicity at my company, or my new bosses, or my new peers are just, dragging me down, I'm going to say, let's take a look at it. And we can't change an entire system. So if the system of corporate America is pissing you off and alienating you in any way, it's not going to be a quick fix to do something about that. You need to focus in on your needs and your mental health and what's going to keep you healthy and what's going to give you the happiest, most content pre-tirement possible. So that's number 5. The landscape has changed at work. Landscape number 6 are the menopause realists. These were all the comments that mentioned menopause or perimenopause. I do believe that I mentioned menopause and perimenopause in the original Pretirement series. And I do believe I mentioned that, but there's several women who are likely in the thick of trying to figure out that piece. And I remember when I was there too. Luckily, I'm on the other side of that as well. But when I was going through it, perimenopause was like 12 plus years ago. Menopause hit me 8 or 9 years ago. And when it first happened, I was just trying to figure out where to find help, where to get answers. What can I do? How can I take care of my symptoms? How can I get a doctor that will listen to me? Took me 3 doctors to get to one that would listen to me and prescribe any kind of hormone therapy. But the women in the comments, like Lurker Smith, they said it's menopause. We're the second generation of women expected to have careers, but the first to admit that menopause exists. Even if you have few symptoms, the gradual loss of vitality is there. It's a natural physical condition, nothing to be ashamed of, and the body's way of screaming at us to adapt. I love that. Yes. So we're an early generation of women trying to thrive in the corporate environment while navigating menopause symptoms and trying to thrive in a corporate environment at the peak of our careers, like climbing the ladders, and we're moving into bigger jobs and bigger roles and more leadership, and trying to do that with natural normal symptoms that are getting in the way. So many women talked about this. One that said, this isn't just burnout, our bodies are changing. Like you're talking about energy shifts, brain fog, emotional changes, and it's definitely making you reevaluate your priorities. And this reminds me of another conversation that I've been having recently as I've talked about women our age navigating corporate America. And I was talking to a colleague of mine, and she was saying, yeah, when we were young, like when we were coming up and we were being taught on what it was going to take to be successful in this world, what it was going to take to climb this ladder of success and be a contributor in the corporate environment at the executive level, we had to do it like the men do it. And we have to do it in the same way. And that's where a lot of the hustle grind, like bro mentality, came from. And that's what we embraced. And now our our female bodies are definitely letting us know, yeah, but you've got a little more you gotta take into consideration. And you're gonna need to figure out a different way to do it, and a different way to achieve, and a different way to be a successful leader. It kind of reminds me of that saying about Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, about how Ginger Rogers did everything that Fred Astaire did, except she did it backwards and in heels. That's the same thing for us coming up in our jobs and in a corporate environment, is that we're doing the same thing as men are doing, but we're doing it with hot flashes and brain fog and everything else. So an important camp to pay attention to. Camp number 7, this is another big one, the caregiver generation. Gen X women, we're in full caregiver mode. You're either caring for aging parents, adult children, sometimes your partners, sometimes your grandchildren, sometimes you're having to be a parent a second time around. And pre-tirement feels like a luxury that is not accessible for you. So here's a couple of examples. Suki Sushi said, I am done too. I have caregiver burnout, caring for a 12-year-old with autism, ADHD, and dyslexia, while also carrying the mental load for the family because my husband has newly diagnosed ADHD and isn't able to do more than one thing at a time, while also caring for a father with dementia after just caring for my mother who died of cancer after 2 years while working full-time. I'm so exhausted, depressed, overwhelmed, and unmotivated. Oh, man. Yeah. And how could you not be? I mean, how could you not be? This comment is a good representation of there were so many women in a similar situation with such heavy loads, heavy weight on your shoulders. Um, what I want to say to you is what you are doing is so beautiful. And I know sometimes you feel like you're not seen, but I'm seeing you right now. We see you. Everyone in this community sees you, and we see each other, and we know the toll that it takes and that it can take on you. And I mean, all I my I wish that I could give you a gift of more energy, more time, um, you know, something along those lines. Um, and maybe we all can in some way. Maybe if we collectively pray for the caregivers, pray that they not only have the strength, but pray that they find relief and that they find solutions and options. I My wish and my hope is that someone who loves you can step up and help give you some relief and give you a break. And you are worth a break. You are worth having that relief. And in order to be a caregiver, you have to be whole as you can be. Um, that's all I can say to you right now. But I just want to say that I see you. I see you. And one of the women that I met with over the weekend was in a similar situation for this. And we just wanted to come up with some time, like together, we just wanted to find some time for her where she can just prioritize herself and get some rest and get some sleep and figure out how to make that happen. And know that I'm just praying that the beauty and that the relief and the joy is coming your way. Because damn, you deserve it. You are so damn worthy of it. Okay, so this is a more lighthearted comment from someone in the caregiver generation. And this one was a very popular comment. This is from at Been There 48. Gen X, I don't even want to plant. I don't want to have to take care of anything except myself. So I get it. I get it. I don't even want to water any plants. I just want to be able to prioritize self. And absolutely, I'm with you 1,000%. Camp number 8, out of sync couples. All right. So, okay. So as I've mentioned many times, I am single and solo. My most significant romantic relationships are currently behind me. So that brings a separate kind of challenge and issue, the whole who's going to take care of me when I'm old thing. What I wasn't fully prepared for was the variation of married, partnered, divorced, widowed women. Let's talk about the married and partnered first. Different variations of we're not in sync on what this season of life should look like. My husband doesn't want me to retire now. I want to retire now. I want to pre-tire now. I want to step back. My husband says I can't. Or my husband is already retired and I can't join him yet. Like, or what I want to do in my pre-tirement is not the same as what I want travel and adventure, and he wants to, stay home and take care of the yard, or, so our goals and our vision and our dreams for this season of life are very different. Couples who have talked about retirement, so they've talked about like when they're gonna stop working, when they're going to collect their Social Security. Like, they've talked about the financial plan of it, but they haven't talked about the pre-tirement. There's just been an assumption that we're going to continue as we are and keep going until we get that age. That's the agreement. And so there's several of you who have changed your mind on that. You don't want to continue the way you are. You're done, you're exhausted, you're over it, but you have someone else that you need to convince. And then we also have those who are newly or recently divorced or widowed. And so there's a new fear in terms of how well prepared you are for retirement. You had what you thought was a plan, and that's been, the rug has been pulled from under you. And that can be really, I would think that could be really, really daunting. Obviously, I'm not divorced. I'm not an actual widow. I had a partner pass away years ago, but I'm not a widow. But if you didn't expect to have to make these plans and decisions and stuff by yourself, that can be overwhelming. And I get it. My suggestion to you is find some of your girls, some of the women in your life, like myself, who have been solo for a really long time, because we have been working on it on our own. We've been trying to figure things out on our own, and we have varying degrees of answers. But it's good to connect with people who are in a similar boat, and you can kind of explore and research and come up together. So that's camp number 8. Camp number 9, the financially trapped. Things, I can't retire because of money or health care. You're worried about insurance, your retirement savings, the rising costs. You're stuck between burnout and financial reality. First, let me say to you, I'm not suggesting that you retire early. Pre-tirement is not retirement. Pre-tirement is figuring out how to earn money differently in a way that's not killing your soul. Figuring out a way to live your life differently, prioritize differently in a way that feeds your soul, but still have money coming in, because it's not retirement time yet. So I want to preface it first that when, so many comments saying I can't retire, or I don't have the money. I know, I get it. I'm right there with you. So let's figure this out now. Like Dreamweaver 1980 said, wish I could afford to retire, but health insurance, car insurance keeps me working. That was one of many. This was a very, very common camp, the financially trapped. So I'm just asking, is there another way to earn money? And if not, if your job is like, if you're just making so much money hand over fist, and the pension and the 401k and the benefit, like all of it is just so, you want to make a bit of a sacrifice because it's so financially worth it for you to do that, so that you can be ready for retirement. If that's your situation, then all right, let's figure out, how do we approach this job differently so that I'm still doing the job, I'm still getting compensated, I'm still on my financial plan, but how can I infuse some joy into my life so that this next season is a good one? Because as I've said a million times in other videos, tomorrow's not guaranteed. Next year's not guaranteed. So what can we do to enjoy this in the meantime? So that's camp number 9. Number 10 is similar, and this was the camp that I was in too. Number 10 is that retirement may never happen. Or even more, a lot of comments even said more definitively, and I've said this, I'm never going to be able to retire. It's never gonna happen. And so there's some variation of, I don't even think retirement is possible anymore. That's not true for everyone, but for a lot of us, like the original rules of the game have changed. The original landscape has changed. Many of us did not stick with a company for many, many years and build up a great pension. Many of us did not build up a great investment portfolio, or we did and we lost it, or we did and life happened and we needed to use it for emergencies. Like many of us didn't, the rules and the steps didn't play out the way they were supposed to. So, and we've been told specific numbers that we need to have in order to be qualified for retirement. And many of us can't imagine how we're going to get to that number. So it's never, ever, ever going to happen. I think this just signals that there's a generational shift in expectations. Because there's also a lot of people that say, I'm never gonna retire. I don't want to ever retire. I want to be doing something until the end of my days. I want to be doing something and receiving some compensation for that until the end of my days. And I want to put things into place that are earning me money till the end of my days. So, there's some people that don't want to retire, but the ones that I'm speaking to the most right now are the ones that say that with some level of resentment, which was me. When I said that, oh, I'm never going to be able to retire, I was filled with resentment. I was pissed off at the generations ahead of us. I was pissed off at the system. I was pissed off at my lack of knowledge on certain things. And of course, pissed off at myself for a lot of decisions and choices that I made throughout my life. And just very resentful that, well, I'm never going to be able to retire. And somehow in doing this pre-tirement journey, here's an unplanned benefit that I've had from this pre-tirement journey. By designing a life that just feels aligned with my values, it's providing contentment and fulfillment and income, and I'm able to live a full life and be happy. Like, because I'm designing this pre-tirement this way, if for some reason I am not, quote, financially ready, whatever that means, to retire at 65 or 67, I'm going to be good with extending my pre-tirement indefinitely and living this life and this lifestyle and this design indefinitely. So it could be a mindset thing that you just need to reframe, or it could be a trigger or a signal that there's something that you need to dig in deep and figure out to come up with some financial solutions. That will take some work, and that will be working with some experts and talking to, not just financial advisors, but getting people who know their stuff that will help you figure out what will it take for you to achieve what it is you're trying to do. So that's what I have to say to those in camp number 10, the retirement may never happen. Camp number 11, the forced reset. The forced reset. The forced reset are those that you didn't choose retirement or pre-tirement. You didn't choose pre-tirement. It chose you. You got laid off. You got pushed out. You had some sort of a health challenge, some sort of a crisis of some sort. You've lost your job. And you are either reassessing your life right now and figuring out what direction you want to go in next, or you're actively engaged in trying to find a new job, and that is proving to be very difficult and very frustrating. I know several people especially with what's been happening with the economy and our environment and everything. Lots of layoffs. And mm, I I understand the fear that happens when you're in that scenario when you weren't planning for it. All I can say is every single time that I've had any sort of period of unemployment for whatever reason, whether it was by choice or whether it just happened, when I after it was over and after I found whatever the next opportunity is, um, I wish that I had could go back and talk to my previous self of when I was deep in the anxiety and the fear and the overwhelm of it and tell her it really is going to be okay. You really are going to be okay. You are very smart and capable and strong. You have solved big problems before. You have figured it out before. You will figure this out again. And I understand that it gets harder and harder as we get older. I will also say that the opportunity to be able to earn money and the ways to earn money has drastically changed in recent years. There's a lot of opportunity to earn money in other ways, either permanently, as a freelancer, contractor, having your own business, etc., or in the meantime until you find a job that aligns and that helps your situation. I know you know this, but it's hard to know it when you're stuck in the fear of it. And I get it. Just like, let's see, Elizabeth M. said, she said, I'm 52, just laid off 2 weeks ago. Reading job ads just makes my heart sink. I just don't want to do the corporate BS anymore, but that's assuming anybody would employ me at my age anyway, still trying to figure it out. Elizabeth, what I would say is find community, find other women with similar experience, find a coach or a mentor or somebody to guide you through this period as best as you can. And I understand if you can't afford to hire someone during this period, even on this platform on YouTube, search what your fears are. Someone will come up, someone will pop up that can help guide you. I have several colleagues that help women with this particular issue. And I would say get some guidance and support. And make sure that you have a friend, a colleague. Sometimes the people closest to you are not great help when you're in this situation because they're almost as fearful for you as you are of your situation. So their fear and anxiety spills onto you. I have found that in these types of circumstances, having a friend that's a little more removed, a little more objective, you need that friend to hold faith and belief in you while you don't have it. And you need to ask them to remind you of that when you're having trouble. When you start having those doubts and you start thinking, why would anybody employ me anymore? Who's gonna bother? What do I have to offer? You need to have that objective friend that's gonna believe in you while you're still too tired to do so. Or leave a comment here, I'll believe in you. I'll believe in you until you are ready to. Because I've seen too many instances of what was seemingly impossible happen. I've seen women get their dream job in their 50s, in their early 60s. So I've seen it happen. It's not impossible to happen, but you've got the whole world telling you that the odds are stacked against you. Ignore them. F that. The world has changed. Things have changed. So the forced reset woman, I'm rooting for you. Camp number 12. Camp number 12 are the critics. And I'm putting them all into one. Luckily, this was a small camp, luckily for me, because I have a relatively thick skin, and at the same time, my feelings do get hurt when I read like negative comments, especially if they're like personally negative. So fortunately, this was a small camp, the critics. But two themes that came up that I want to address. I'm not going to quote any of the comments, but I want, because I just don't want to give them that amplification. But there were a few comments that said something along the lines of, wait, what are you doing? Why are you telling women to step back? Why are you telling women to quietly quit? Which, by the way, quietly quit was just a tagline. I wasn't telling you to give up on anything. But why are you telling women to do this? You are just reinforcing ageist beliefs. So, and one of them even said, thanks a lot for that, which I get. So basically they're saying that by me telling women, if your executive role or your corporate role or your job, if it's killing you, stepping back, easing down, creating boundaries, not being available 24/7, not over delivering all the time, looking at your priorities in life, looking at how it's all gelling together, making sure that you've got that work-life balance. I know that's a cliche, but because I'm doing all of that I am reinforcing stereotype that older women are not as valuable because they're not as motivated. They've lost energy, or they're menopausal, and they just don't have the ambition anymore. And so my response to that is, I believe that ageism is a much more complicated, layered, nuanced challenge and problem. And I'm not going to reinforce women burning themselves out and working themselves to death and giving and not getting anything back just to try to debate ageist beliefs. I know that just because us women in pre-tirement who are doing life differently, my contribution and even with my company client, I have corporate clients that I work for, that I freelance for. And I know that my contribution to them is highly valuable because I have skills that I have honed and developed over decades. And I have perspective, and I have a wider view, and I just have just the lived experience that we have. There's so much that we bring to the table. So just because I'm advocating for doing life differently and doing work differently does not mean that it's any less valuable, any less worthy, or that the contribution is any less. So that's what I have to say. And I've got plenty more, but just in a nutshell, that's what I have to say on that topic. The other topic I can make an entire video about, and I got to be careful not to go too deep into it on this video because I'll just go down a rabbit hole. But there were definitely a couple of trolls that came in and made very misogynistic comments on this. One was something along the lines of, oh, ha, 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 I thought women could do anything now, and it turns out you can. I thought you were better than men. Ha ha. See, we've been doing it. We've been doing this forever, and it's worn you out. I'm paraphrasing, but there were a small handful of like nasty tones saying that, haha, see, you cannot do this as well as men do it. And I don't know that I need to dignify that with an answer, but all I can say is the whole Ginger Rogers thing again. We can do it dancing backwards and with heels on, which is what we've been doing. And we have to figure out, we're newly into this phenomenon of women being at higher levels in corporate America. And we are figuring it out, that designing our own way to do it and to get it done. And it doesn't need to look exactly like how the men do it. And we are living our lives differently. And I think when we're done with this exploration, and when Gen X is done figuring this out and passing it on to our millennials and our kids, and Gen Z and Gen Alpha, although they're already starting to pick it up, I feel like we're going to be way ahead of the game. You're going to find that not only do we ultimately end up being a more cohesive society and more positively impactful and happier and content and all of those things that the men are still trying to figure out. But so I think that there's a lot that they can adopt and adapt. And hopefully we can do that. As we're learning what we're learning, we can be teaching our sons and our little brothers and our partners about it, so that they too can have a very happy, fulfilling, impactful pre-tirement. And they have a different set of challenges on their plate for sure. But yeah, like I said, I could completely digress and go down a rabbit hole. But I just wanted to say that camp number 12 were the critics about the concept of pre-tirement. I'm wondering where you all fall so far. Have any of them bounced out to you? Put them in the comments. Camp number 13 are the women who took action. They say things like, I felt this too and I made a change. And they shared their stories. If you guys haven't seen some of the stories, go back and read them. They've redesigned their work. They've downsized their lives and or possessions. They've shifted their careers. They retired earlier than they expected to. Let me give you a couple of quotes on this. Gen X gone expat. Okay, that tells you what she's done. This is exactly where I was in January 2025. I was done. I sold everything and retired early overseas at age 58. It only took 6 months. It was extreme because I couldn't imagine retirement. But like you, I was deeply unhappy with my life and the way it was set up. I resigned from my highest paying job. I don't have the money. I did it anyway. So far, no regrets, swimming in the ocean, walking to the market. Yes, you go, Gen X. Gen X gone expat. Love it. And then Everett 302 said, same here. I am a teacher and have created my escape route. My son has 2 years left of high school and then I am done. My husband and I are moving to a new state where there is sun and surf. My colleagues are freaking out. What are you going to do? How are you doing this? I don't give a damn. I want to work in a candy shop, sell lemonade, work as a tour guide. I do not care. I am tired. I do not want to live a half life for the next 15 years and then maybe live long enough to enjoy retirement. I know too many people who retired, then died within 5 years. F that. Yes, Everett. 1,000%. So for those of you that are looking for ideas, go through any of the videos that are about pre-tirement. Most of them have pre-tirement somewhere in the title on this channel, but so many women like this who did something about it. They shifted things around, and so it'll help give you some ideas and generate some for you. And then camp number 14, this is the last one. Camp number 14, the women already living the dream. These are the ones who have already retired, and they say things along the lines of, it's the best decision I ever made. And I have mixed some of these comments trigger me because some of them remind me, because they share their happy stories, which I love. They share their happy stories of they did everything right and it paid off. It happened the way it was supposed to happen. And yes, I'm happy. I'm happy that there's a good chunk of our generation that it's paying off the way it's supposed to. It happened the way it was supposed to. And they've been able to retire either early or right on time. But I do have a little bit of jealousy about it. I gotta admit, because I can't go back in time. I can't turn the clock back, but I can be happy for you. What I wish I could do is I wish we could, well, I don't know, maybe the younger generation already knows this and things are really going to change for them. So who knows what the right path is and what's going to ultimately help out. But that was camp number 14. That's like TJ 4079, Gen X here, retired last year at 56, loving life. I have no regrets. Stress-free, health improved, spend time with grandkids and travel. If you can retire, do it. Awesome, TJ. I love it. I love it. So those are the 14 camps. Let me remind you what they are. The number 1, wait, that is exactly how I feel. Number 2, the lifelong workers. Number 3, the women who are deep in the middle of it. Number 4, the quietly resigned. Number 5, I love my job, but the landscape has changed. Number 6, the menopause realists. Number 7, the caregiver generation. Number 8, out of sync couples. Number 9, financially trapped. Number 10, the retirement may never happen. Number 11, the forced reset women. Number 12, the critics. Number 13, the women who took action. And number 14, the women already living the dream. So which one are you, or multiple ones are you? Do you relate? And I promised you the pre-tirement self-check assessment. So I got 3 questions for you. Number 1, what parts of your life give energy versus drain it? What parts of your life give energy versus drain it? Number 2, autonomy. Where do you still feel control over your time? Where? And number 3, possibility. What part of your life still feels open? So I want you to ask yourself those 3 questions. What parts of your life give energy versus drain it? Where do you see yourself still having control over your time? And what part of your life still feels open? And see if that kind of gets anything moving for you, thought-wise and action-wise. You know, reading your comments on my videos has been really one of the most meaningful, soul-nourishing things that I've experienced through this whole YouTube journey on this title, on this channel, because it reminds me we are not alone in this moment. And I feel really optimistic that we can all work on this together and we can move it forward and we can change the way we do things. This is Amy Palmer. Please remember to like and subscribe to this channel. I am your Gen X big sister, signing out.